Let's
Spoilers.
talk a little college football. And the reason why
Sure.
we're talking college football is the big circus, or the thing that's been going around the circuits is what I'm trying to say, is the college football playoff. And I've had this on the docket for a future topic for a long time of, is 4 teams enough? Do we have to rework the college football playoff? And the one making the rounds, I'm going to put on the screen right now so you guys can see, is a 16-team playoff, where basically how, and this comes from College Football Playoff Edits, is the same one that McAfee's used, that all the ones on Twitter have been rounding with, is basically the top 16 teams get in. Where if you're the top 16 in the rankings, that's what you go ahead, and that's how you put together this bracket. Dave, I'll go to you first, because I've been going to Jake first all night. First off, do we need a 16-team playoff in college football? And would this be the best way to do it, is to just have the top 16?
Yeah, I have no problem with this. I'm 100% in on the top 16. I love the tournament format. You can use the smaller bowl titles as the first round of games. I think it builds up perfectly. Obviously we'll have to figure out the exact game number for the seasons with the in-conference play versus out-of-conference play, but we might see a better quality if teams don't get that powder puff game to warm up on, who are like SEC teams should not pay tiny schools $100,000 to kick the shit out of them as a warm-up game.
Part of me,
I don't like it. And
part of me, I like it though, because it gives it's a way for the small school to get some money. That Alabama gets, just by being fucking Alabama.
Yeah, sure, it's win-win in that fact, but for a consumer of the sport, it is a lose.
I say
that's what I am.
You could maybe have the choice to still do it, but it's an exhibition then. It happens in the spring.
I'm cool with it. No, even if it happens in the fall. Okay. I'm cool with preseason college football instead of intramural. No red versus white game. You just.
they're gonna have the red versus white in the spring, because that usually happens in
right. But in the fall, I'm cool with having like a preseason game for college football, which would be cool. I think top 16 with minor bowl games as the intro week basically would work out perfectly. I think the problem is we always will lean towards having the big names in there. Yeah. Like, I want to see a Coastal Carolina get a shot. I want to see a BYU get a shot. I want to see these teams who will never be top 4 teams have a chance to play a big team, but also I don't want to see that Notre Dame, a bunch of, short, undersized players get stuck against Alabama where they got 50 pounds on them on the fucking line. Like, that's what you try to avoid. You don't want the worst matchups. You're looking for, let's just make the most competitive thing and see, maybe we can get a miracle run happen here. Maybe we can see something special. The narrative gets changed, and I love that.
So, Jake, I'm going to have you give your point before I go into my master plan, because I actually don't like the 16-team playoff, and I say go a step further. But go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, it's always going to be a point. I've always been on the board. I think it should be top 10, 1 and 2 get a bye. That's how I think it should be. But even if you make it 16 the next year, people are gonna be like, let's do 18, and then the year after they're going, let's do 20, and then let's do, because they're always going to be the teams that get left out and get cut out. It always happens. It's happened with us, Penn State, when we should have made it, when we beat Ohio State, and we didn't. But it's all right. It should still be. It definitely should be more than 4 teams. 4 teams is so limiting and restricting to how great college football is when that stadium is full, and hopefully we get back to that next year, and the atmosphere is amazing, and the playoff, and imagine Coastal Carolina having their visiting section in Notre Dame whenever they're trying, and they upset Notre Dame in the first round of the college football playoff, because that is what you want.
Because with this one, it has Cincinnati would actually be hosting Georgia because they are the 8 over the 9. Coastal Carolina is going to Columbus, but here's the problem I had with the 16, because Brandon Swanson, former friend of the show, still friend of the show, but former on the show.
I was like, wow, you cut off Brandon like that?
He tweeted this to me because Danny Cannell tweeted it. And he said, what do you think? And my thought was, because I was already thinking about this the night before he sent it, my thought would, if you're going to do 16, how do the conference championships play into this? Because that to me is like, I would eliminate conference champs, to be honest with you. I would basically go off of, have it be where it's like, you know what? It's just record throughout, and it's based off the college committee gives it to you, to where it's like, Alabama's number one. They finished first in the SEC because, like, to me, it's like there's no way to reward a conference champion unless you're going to say the top 5 seeds are automatic conference champions. But then how do you do like the weight of like a Power 5 conference champion to a non-Power 5 like Coastal Carolina? So what I had put up is top 2 teams from every Power 5 get in. So that's 10 of your 16. So basically it's eliminating conference championship because all you got to do is win your division if you're in a team, one that has 2 divisions. So like this year, Alabama, Florida, boom. Those are your top 2. You're the ones that are in. Or Alabama, Texas A&M, however it works out at the end of the year. Those 2 get in. And boom, you get 10 of your 16 teams. Then I give 2 to 3 spots to be decided by whoever, if you want 2, if you want 3, to Power 5 teams that win their conference and finish in the top 20. So you have to win your conference and finish ranked because obviously you're not going to give a playoff spot to like, oh, I won the Mountain West, but I was outside the top 25. I felt like that was kind of like unfair.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that happen in the NCAA for men's basketball, women's basketball.
Yeah,
it throws things off a little.
Yeah, and basketball obviously has gotten a lot more teams. And then I said like the other slots would just be at-large bids. So it's like if you have 3 remaining spots, 4 remaining spots, that's what you have it. However, I want to go one step further. And I saw this graphic from the same people at college football playoff brackets. I like this better of a 24-team bracket. I know what people are going to say, holy shit, 24 teams, but let's walk it through really quick. I'm actually changing some of the stuff they have here, where first off, they have the top 8 teams get a bye. So I like this. 8 teams get a bye, you have your 4 regions. The thing I would change is all the Power 5 conference champions, and this is how you can keep the conference championship game, they are in automatic top 5 seed and get a bye. Then the remaining 3, you can kind of go with like, all right, the next 3 teams in the ranking. So it's basically 1 through 5 is all your Power 5s. That's how the Power 5 champions, the committee ranks them. Then 6 through 8 also get a bye. Also, if you'll see here, like Memphis, Miami of Ohio, Appalachian State, Boise State, FAU, all of your non-Power 5 teams get in. So if you win the CUSA, you win the MAC, you're in the top 24. The committee just has to put you in there because you won that conference. And then the rest of them is based off of where the committee ranks you 1 through 24. That's something that I think, and they could do the same thing that you're talking about, Dave, eliminate some early crap games because you're going to get basically 16 games for the first round, then 16 games with the 8 teams that had a bye, and then basically 4 games, 2 games, 1 games. It's adding more revenue. I don't have to see 6 win this team versus 6 win this team. No, I'm going to actually see some fucking games that matter in these other bowl games that might have lesser names than the Rose Bowl, Peach Bowl.
The only thing that bugs me is the Power 5 lock, because I think sometimes we have 3 teams in the SEC who could kick the shit out of everyone else in college football that year. And that becomes the problem, because I think that those teams probably deserve the bye, like the 2 and 3 from the SEC would deserve the bye over someone else from like the Pac-12 or, whatever.
Yeah, well, the only lock is to the champion. So like in this one, let's say like last year, LSU
I think
won.
The champion of the Pac-12 probably is worse than the second best team in the SEC some years. Might be worse than the third best team in the SEC some years.
I see, that was because they did that here. They have Georgia at the 5.
Like for this year, how can you paint me a picture of this year? Because that's the most fresh in my mind. Like, what would it look like this year for you?
Let me pull it up. So, like for the SEC, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Alabama and Florida play this weekend. So basically, the winner of Alabama, Florida, you have Ohio State, Northwestern. The Pac-12 game, I think now is USC, Oregon, because Washington had to get pulled out for COVID. So it's USC, Oregon in the Pac-12, and then it's Iowa State, Oklahoma in the Big 12. The 2 things you could do, and Clemson, Notre Dame for the ACC.
Right.
The reason why I was thinking top 5 lock for the champions is because it's kind of like the NBA ruling that I never really liked, of like, you win your division, if you're going to put weight on these conferences, you've got to have a reward for that. However, I do agree with you. There are some times where it's like, well, you know what? Georgia or Florida this year is better than USC if they win the Pac-12. So like to me, it's a decider of like, if you win the conference tournament as a 1-5 lock, or is it like, okay, you won your conference tournament, you're locked to be 1-8. You're for sure going to get a bye. It's just, where are you going to be ranked? Because there may be 3 other teams that are, hey, I didn't win my conference tournament, but I'm clearly better than you.
Yeah, Jake, what do you think about that?
I always think, I guess for talking about locks, I still think the major conferences should have locks, obviously, like that. But I don't know if I should you said every Power 5 gets a lock? Is that what you said?
Yeah, so the 5 teams, so basically SEC, Big 12, Big 10, Pac, and ACC, all of those champions get a bye. Or for me, I was saying get a top 5 seed.
Yeah, I don't know about the top 5 seed. I think maybe they should just be allowed into the tournament. I don't know if they should automatically get a bye. I think why I think 16 is so perfect is the problem with the college football playoff as of now is the fact that there's no real, like when March Madness comes around for college basketball, we're so excited because anything could happen. We've seen a 16 beat a 1. We've seen a 15 beat a 2. We've seen all that. In college football, you're like, yeah, if the 1 or the 4 wins, cool. If the 2 or the 3 wins, yeah, that's cool. Like nothing's exciting. Like they're great football games sometimes. That's all. That's fine and dandy. But I want to see a 1 versus a 16 and a 2 versus a 15 and a 3 versus a 14. Because when those upsets start happening, that's when it gets exciting. And that's when everybody starts rooting for an underdog. There is no underdog in a 1 versus a 4. I'm sorry. They're both great football teams. And I'm not really, if it's Alabama versus Notre Dame, if Notre Dame wins, I'm like, wow, that's cool. They're always good. But if a Coastal Carolina comes in and beats number 3 Notre Dame or whatever, that's exciting. That's something that everybody can get behind and root for an underdog, and it'll probably increase viewers.
Like, let's see, just going off the college football rankings right now, like Oklahoma's 10th, they would play the 23rd team. That would be Oklahoma versus Tulsa, which that even has regional ties to it, because I believe Tulsa is in Oklahoma. The 9th team would play 24. I mean, what?
No, just
like a smaller Oklahoma school saying, "Hey, we're gonna beat the big dog in the state."
No, it was more like the regional. It was great.
It's got some regional ties to it. 9 and 8 would be Cincinnati versus San Jose State because they're at 24. I mean, Miami at 18. I'm looking off of the graphic to see where 18 even is.
I do like your graphic. 18, 15. I think that's excellent.
Like 18-15, you get Miami, UNC that just happened this weekend. I know that the Tar Heels kicked the shit out of the Hurricanes, but maybe you get we get a second run at these guys to see if we can beat them again. Like
any given Saturday. I would say
4 is so, like we've said, 4 is so inclusive to where it's like
I'm with Jake. I love the narratives. I love the storylines and the upsets. That's what makes March Madness special. College football. The tournament, they need to expand to make that a thing. They need the underdogs. They need the wonderful stories. But he's right. 1-4, 4-1. It's not an upset. 2-3 mountain. It's not an upset.
The thing I love about a 24, and you can even do this with a 16 if you wanted to. Get the little guys involved. With a 24 team bracket, you can let the non-Power 5 champions get in and not feel like, wow, the pool is diluted to where we're missing out on so many Power 5 schools. Because there is the stipulation in many people's minds that Power 5 is better than non-Power 5, which isn't always true, but it's just what we grow up with.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I like the expansion of the tournament. I think at the end of the day, whether it's 16 or 24, like you said, it's a better place than we're at today. And as long as we keep pushing forward, I'm happy with it. I don't want to settle for 4. 4 is not the end answer. It is not right.